is only one perfect solution, but there are clues that will try to trick our team.
Hello there everyone, my name is Crazy Caleb and welcome to Tombstone Maze. Now this module is part of the colored square family, however it has absolutely nothing to do with colored squares whatsoever. And the way that you're going to be able to identify colored squares from Tombstone Maze is actually quite simple. Number one, it's going to look similar to juxtacolored squares, which in this case, if there are colors besides red, blue, green, yellow, and magenta. Now, Tombstone Maze, between Juxtacolored and Tombstone Maze will have duplicates, while Juxtacolored will have 16 unique colors. This will always be the exact same case for the Tombstone Maze. That's going to be the difference between Juxtacolored squares, because this is essentially adjacent. Juxta is sort of like adjacent letters, except it's adjacent colors in this case. But Tombstone Maze will have duplicate colors. For example, there are 2 whites, there are 2 cyans, there are 2 crimson, I want to say, chestnuts, excuse me. And there are 2 greens. There's 1 jade, obviously, as you can see. But that's very clearly the difference here is going to be the fact that you're able to see multiple colors. Now, the actual starting process of this module is completely irrelevant. I would like to state beforehand that this module, by the creator, mind you, has said that this module is complete RNG, and there's going to be a lot of the stuff that I'm going to explain to you, which is going to be completely irrelevant to the entire solving process that we're going to be doing in this tutorial. This module, and I will put this bluntly, is a lot of bullshit, and you'll see what I mean in just a moment. So, what exactly is going to be happening with this module? So, you are playing a game of Gravedigger against an AI. Now, already AI should be a pretty important thing that we should recognize here. The AI is dumb. Let's just make that very clear. Gravedigger is played on two 4x4 grids, and each of them has a maze. Each player can only see their grid. So essentially what we have here is we have our grid, and there's going to be another grid that's not visible to us. And each grid starts with your piece in the bottom left cell. So what's going to happen here is that there's going to be 2 different mazes that are going to be going on here. And one of them is visible to us, and one of them is not. However, there will always be a pawn in the exact. There will always be a pawn in both mazes in this exact same position. Now, we will start in the bottom leftmost cell, and your opponent's piece will be in the upper rightmost cell. There will be 1 in each individual maze. Keep that in mind. So the play begins with you, and you both take turns either moving or digging. The AI will always choose the same type of action as you. Now, what this exactly means is that this is going to be, if we happen to dig, we happen to dig. If we happen to move, we happen to move. That's going to be what's going to happen here. The AI will do the exact same thing, but it won't necessarily be the exact same sort of movement. The digging, of course, is going to be referring to which direction you're going to dig, and the movement is obviously going to be which direction you're going to move. It doesn't necessarily need to move or dig in the same direction or the same amount of spaces, because in a moment here, if we take a look, to move, press a square not in the rightmost column. Your pieces slide in the direction given by the row, up, right, down, or left, from top to bottom, and this is always going to be the exact same case. And the number of spaces is going to be given by the column, however many spaces you want to move. So for example, if we wanted to move up 3 spaces, we would press Charlie 1 right here, because of the fact that it is the 3rd column, and this is the up row. Make sure that we do not click the rightmost column, because this is going to be represented by digging. This is going to be digging a square. And running into a wall or the pawn will halt your movement on that grid only. So, and this is going to be happening in both grids simultaneously. So, that's going to be what's important here. And to dig, we're going to press the square in the rightmost column, and you will dig 1 space from where you are standing in the direction given by that row. If the square turns red, there is something in the way on your opponent's grid, which we will get into in just a moment. And if the square turns green, you have successfully dug. 1 square will turn white, indicating where you dug on your opponent's grid. And this is going to be how we're going to actually determine where we are currently in the other maze. This is important. This is how we're going to be figuring out exactly where we can go and where we will be, and where we currently are in the actual maze. So, let's start with how this thing works. So what's going to happen here is that every single time the AI will choose a random move. Every move that you make, whether it be a movement or a dig, It will always be the exact same type, but it will be completely random of which direction it's going and however many counts it is, if it's a movement. This is where the part of the whole bullshit mod begins. From the creator himself, there is absolutely no reason why you have to focus on the other AI. According to him. Now, this is indeed possible to strike, but it is like really, really rare for it to actually happen. And what's going to end up happening is we're just going to focus on trying to get to our goal. Because you win and the module will solve when you dig your opponent's starting square on their grid. So, what we're going to try and do is we're going to try and get from Alpha 4 to Delta 1, because we begin at Alpha 4 and we're going to be going to our opponent's starting square, which is Delta 1, up in the top right. And you lose, and the module will strike and regenerate when your opponent digs your starting square on your grid. So we want to make sure that we do not let him get on there over there. But I'll be 100% honest with you, it is significantly easier to just focus on one individual grid and trying to get to the other side, because of the fact that you don't know exactly what the AI is going to choose. It's very difficult to keep track of. And what essentially the pawn is trying to do in our maze is it's trying to prevent the pawn in this maze from getting to the other side. We're trying to get to the other side of their maze in the hidden maze that we actually cannot see. So that's what makes this mod a little bit difficult. And now, whether you dig or move, your opponent's move will be indicated by a square flashing white. Treat this as though they would have pressed that square, but to move the pawns instead of your pieces. So, now obviously there is a bunch of little funny stuff down here. Obviously, you can use in the brackets for the direction of the impassable walls. This is only for your maze, so where you can see like the walls of the maze that's going to be happening. This is completely irrelevant. I'm going to be 100% honest with you. This is completely irrelevant. If you want to get successful, if you want to be successful with this mod, and you just want to make this life really easy for you to do, I would advise not caring about this mod. It effectively becomes a solo. So now let's get into this. So let's click one of the squares. Let's just click anything to get started. Let's start by digging. So now what I just effectively have dug is I'm currently in Alpha 4 right now. We're currently at Alpha 4 and we need to get to Delta 1. So what I just tried to do was I just tried to dig up. I just tried to dig up and see if I can potentially move this way up to Alpha 3 if there's something in the way. In this case, they happen to turn red, so there is something in your way on the opponent's grid. This obviously is not going to be the pawn, and keep in mind the pawns can actually prevent movement. If you happen to run into the opponent's pawn on that same maze, it will cause problems, so keep that in mind that is indeed a possibility, although it is rare for it to actually happen. So, but as you can see now, what this little flashing white light represents is this represents the AI, the AI's movement, what it effectively did this turn. Note that I used the rightmost column for digging, and it's going to be it actually did dig as well. It will always be limited to this column if I happen to dig. And in this case, it tried to dig right. So that's going to be what's happening here. So now, let's see what happens. So we're currently at Alpha 4 right now, and we can't go up. So this likely means that we're only going to be able to go right here. And if we were to click this one, because the second row represents right, indeed it turns green. And now, this little solid light represents where we can potentially go to. We're currently still at Alpha 4. We have not moved yet, but we have the ability to go to Bravo 4 here. And we can now move right. We can move right one space. So let's hit 1 to the right. And this is going to represent moving here. And now, this represents what it just tried to do. It just tried to move left 3 times, which effectively did nothing, to be completely honest. If it moved over here, it really didn't do much for it. Hopefully there's a wall, but obviously, like I said, it's not really, you really don't care about keeping track of the other pawn in the maze, simply because it just doesn't matter most of the time. And that's really what's going to happen. It's an AI, it's a very dumb AI. Even the creator himself said, you're better off focusing on just getting your piece through and not focusing on anything else. That's going to be the way that this works. So now, let's see where else we can go from this point on. Can we go right, potentially? We can indeed. Let's go right. Let's go maybe right one more time here. Yes, we can. Let's go 1 right. Let's go up. See if we can go up. Indeed, we can. Now, let's go up. And we go up again. We can indeed. Okay. So now we're going to be going up to Alpha 2 here. We're going to be going up, oh, excuse me, not Alpha 2, Delta 2. Now, If everything happens to work out quite well, we go 1 up, we're currently at delta 2 right now. Now, what would happen here is if we happen to get lucky, there's no wall in the space. From this position, if we are able to dig up, the module will solve, because what happens is we have 1, because we are going to be digging our opponent's starting square. We're going to be digging in delta 1 from delta 2. So let's see, are we right? We are not. Okay, so this means that we have to come in from the left here. Or we're going to have to come in from the left to right here. So that's going to be where we have to go. So now what we need to do is we need to figure out where can we go from here. So can we potentially go to the left from where we're currently at? We're currently at delta 2 right now. So let's go left. Let's see if we can dig left. We can dig left. That is very important. So let's move 1 space to the left. Can we dig up? We can actually dig up. Okay. So we can go up. We're currently at Charlie 1 right now. Can we dig to the right from this current position? If this cell, because it's going to be the second row, which is up, which is the right direction, this will solve the module. It does not, which likely means that there was a pawn in the way at some given point in time. So what we effectively need to do here is we need to figure out what the heck to do. So let's try and see what we can potentially do and see if we can maybe get him to move it down, potentially, so that we can get past the pawn, because it likely means that this guy is stuck in the same position, because one of these 2 walls has to happen here. And we know for a fact that we can go from Charlie 1 to Charlie 2 over to Delta 2 without any problems. There's no walls there, so that likely means that we're being blocked off by a pawn. So let's figure this out. So let's potentially go down 1. The third row is going to be down. Let's go to the right one. Yeah, it's trying to go right. It's still stuck in the corner. And we want to actually get away from it, to be completely honest. Let's go 1 up, potentially. If we can get some downs or lefts, that would be quite nice. But as you can clearly see, the RNG of this is just absolutely awful. Let's see. So we're currently trying to dig. We can dig down. So yeah, we're currently at Charlie 1 right now. Okay, and this is a bit of an interesting situation to be in. So let's try and go down one more time. Let's see if we can just try and get this thing out of here. It went down 1 time. Ooh, okay, interesting. So now can we go to the right? Let's see where we're at. Can we go up? Okay. So what happened here was the pawn went down 1 space, which was right here. And what we tried to do is we tried to go right. And then what happened was that we couldn't move at all, because of the fact that if you happen to run into anything, it doesn't strike you, but it just will immediately stop. It will immediately stop you at that point. So if you were to go, for example, 3 up, and there happened to be a wall in the second space, it would stop you there. And in this case, we tried to go to the right, but obviously this did not work. So now we're currently at Charlie 2 right now. Let's see if we can go right now. The pawn is indeed still there. So now let's go up, potentially. So 1 up, we're now at Charlie 1. It went left 2 times. It is currently in the way right now, I believe. No, it's not. It's very hard to tell where this actually is right now. So let's go down 1. Can we go right now? Yes, we can. Ooh, okay. So let's go to the right. 1 space to the right. And hopefully we can dig up, solve this module. And just like that, a module is solved. So what happened here was there was a pawn currently in the way. As you can see, it really got stuck in there for some reason. And that just shows you how bad the RNG can be, absolutely. So what we needed to do was how do I describe this? There was a wall, and the ending looked something like this. And we were at Delta 2. So this is Delta 2 right here. What we effectively needed to do from Delta 2 is we needed to dig up. And that would be the this would be the Delta 1 right here. We needed to dig up in order to get to the opponent's starting square, because that's how we solve the module. We don't get to the starting square, we dig in the starting square. So, in this case, we were able to determine that, hey, there was a pawn blocking the way because we were at Delta 2, and we did try and dig up beforehand, but that gave us red from beforehand. So what we needed to do is we needed to just kind of move around and allow the pawn to actually move around itself too, because it was currently stuck in Delta 1. And then we were able to figure this out, and bada bing, bada boom, we were able to solve the module. Thankfully enough. So yeah, as you can clearly see, this module is quite fun, because it just does not care about like 3 parts of this entire mod. It really doesn't. You do not care about how the visible maze works. You only care about the hidden maze, and you only care about your pawn. So you only care about a quarter of this mod, and that's what makes it 99% of the time a solo. There is that one very unfortunate chance that it happens to just really get lucky and strike you. And by lucky, I mean unlucky. But yeah, it is a module of all time, certainly. So let's go over one more example. Let's see what we can do. Let's just immediately activate the module. There's no point in really noting down these colors. And we can get going. So let's go. Let's see if we can go up. We can go up this time. Let's go 1 space up. Can we go up again? We can indeed. Let's go 1 space up. Okay, we can go up to alpha 1. We're currently at alpha 1 right now. And hopefully maybe we can get a nice easy sequence just all the way to the right. But I doubt that that'll happen. 1 space up. So now can we go to the right? We cannot. Okay, interesting. So let's go back down. 1 space down. And remember, columns represent how many spaces you move. The rows represent the directions up, right, down, and left, of course. It takes a little bit of practice of getting used to, but it's fairly simple. It's up, and it's moving clockwise around in the directions. So let's go 1 space down. Can we go right, potentially, here? Yes, we can. Okay. Let's go 1 space to the right. Can we 1 space up? Yes, we can. Let's go 1 space up. We're currently at Bravo 1 right now. And let's go to the right. We cannot go to the right, which is very interesting. Let's go down 1 space. And can we go to the right potentially here? No, we cannot. Okay, so this is like very likely a dead end. Can we go down? No. We can go left. Yes, so we're now going to be currently going to alpha 2, which is truly tragic. So let's go left. 1 space left, and then we're going to be going down, obviously. So let's go 1 space down. Right here. And potentially, can we go to the right here? We can go to the right. Okay. Interesting. So let's try this. Let's try 1 space right. Can we go right again? Yes, we can. Let's go 1 space to the right. Can we go up potentially? Or right? We can go right. We cannot go up. So let's go right. Can we go up now here? We cannot. Okay. Well, this is interesting, certainly. It might be a pawn in the way. I think I have a hypothesis because of the fact that we couldn't... It's likely a pawn that either came left or came down. We can't quite tell for certain right now. Can we go down? We can. Can we go left? Yes, we can. So maybe let's try going down, and let's see what happens. So 1 space down. So now we're currently at delta 4 right now. We need to get up to the top right. Can we go up now? Okay. Let's go 1 space up. Can we go up again? Darn it. Okay. Maybe we'll come back the way we came. We go left 3 times. We can still go left, I would imagine. Yep, so let's go left 3 times. Okay. It just tried to go left once. Okay. So let's go up 1 space. See if we can dig up. Yes, we can. 1 space up. Can we go right? Yes, we can. Let's go 1 space to the right. Can we go up here? Yes, we can. Let's go 1 space up. Can we go right? We cannot go right. Let's go back down. Can we go 1 space right here? Yes, we actually can. Okay, this is interesting. I think this is a bit new. 1 space. 1 space. I did not want to go up here. Let's go down. 1 space down. Let's go 1 space to the right. We can dig up. Let's go 1 space up. Can we dig right? Indeed we can. And just like that, we went from Charlie 1 over to Delta 1, digging into the opponent's starting square. And just like that was a solved module. As always, thank you guys for watching, and thank you for coming along for this crazy ride. As always, stay crazy, stay cool, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.